Hey everybody, it's Saturday, it's spring break, and I decided that I want to do some baking. So I'm not usually a big baker, but I thought this is a good opportunity for me to try something to get better at, and it's also making me think about some relatives who aren't here. So I'll introduce you to them in a second. First, I'm going to wash my hands. Hold on. Gotta wash my hands. Winter candy apple. Pretty cool. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. All right. It's got to be at least 20 seconds. All right. Grab myself a towel. This is a good one. All right. We're good to go. So one of the people that was most important to me was my grandma. This is a picture of my grandma and grandpa on their wedding day. And something I loved to do when I was a kid was bake with my grandma. And she would be 98 if she were still here. And one of the things I got from her is her box of recipes. And in it is a recipe for chocolate cake. And many of you probably know chocolate cake is my very favorite food. So I decided I would try her recipe for chocolate cake. The directions on here are not super clear, so I called my daughter Liz, who lives in Minneapolis, and she loves to bake. She's a super good cake maker, and I asked her for some advice. So the cake that I'm going to do today is going to be a combination of Grandma's recipe, there's Grandma, and daughter's help. So now that I touched a bunch of things, I need to wash my hands again. Hold on. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. All right, clean again. Okay, so one piece of advice my daughter gave me was to make it so that the cake doesn't stick to the pan. So what she said I should do is take some spray. And there's the second pan. Spray that. And then she suggested that I take some of this parchment paper and cut out circles that are the same size as these pans. So I'm going to try to do that. Okay, so I'm going to use parchment paper because my daughter Liz said that's a good idea. And she said to try and cut circles that are the same size as the center of this pan, which is going to be kind of challenging for me. Cutting, cutting is not the easiest thing for me. I'm a lefty using right-handed scissors. But I'm giving it a shot. Let's see. I need to make more of a circle. Let's see. It's getting there. Oh. Oh no. Probably shouldn't cut towards my finger. No. See, I have to cut more because it's coming up on the sides. So I'm going to cut a little bit more. It's also starting to look more like a circle now. It's not very circular before. Let's see. That's pretty good. It's not fully covered, but I think I could probably give it a try. It's close. I'm going to try another one, see if it does any better. She said I should then spray it with some more spray afterwards. So we'll see how that turns out. I'm going to put these aside, and it says that I am supposed to sift the dry ingredients. The dry ingredients are flour, baking soda, and brown sugar. So I'm going to sift those into, I think, this bowl. I've got a new pack of flour. Oh shoot, it's not easy to open. I punched a nice hole in it, which I often do. My husband is laughing. All right, so here's my sifter, and we need 2 cups of flour. So I know that I'm supposed to level off the flour, so here I go. All right, there's 1 cup, 1 more cup. All right, 2 cups of flour, here we go. Sifting it's making it really fine, as you probably know. All right, and now I have 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So here's my teaspoon measuring cup. And baking soda, which I can level off in the box itself. Here we go there. And then, interestingly, there's no white sugar, just brown sugar in this recipe. So I'm supposed to get 1 1/4 cups of brown sugar. So I guess I'm going to try creaming the butter without the sugar in it and see what happens. Let's see. Okay. This is really an experiment. We're going to see how this goes. My daughter said this should go for like 5 minutes. While that's happening, I'm going to start melting the chocolate, because this is going to be a chocolate cake. So we're going to take 3 sticks or 3 squares of this baker's chocolate, and we're going to put it in a double boiler. Ooh, this is hard. I have to figure out a way to cut this one piece. Wow. I need a sharp knife or something. I'll try and cut this. Okay, so I've got 3 pieces of chocolate in here. And the way this works is that you pour some water right in here. So I'm using a little funnel to pour some water into the double boiler. And now I can put this on the stove. That's looking pretty good. Supposed to add the eggs to this. And then we're going to add the chocolate. All right, so I'm going to crack the eggs into a different dish. There's one. There's the other. Got 2 eggs. I'm going to add that to the butter there. And then once the chocolate is melted, we're going to add the chocolate. And then we're going to add the sugar and the flour and the baking soda, and then some milk and vanilla also. You're going to need a teaspoon of vanilla and a cup of milk. So we'll do that shortly. So there's the chocolate in the double boiler. It doesn't look like, it definitely feels like it's warming up, but it hasn't started to melt yet. When it does, I'll start to stir it up a little bit. Oh, there it goes. It's starting to melt. You can see a little bit there. That's a good start. It's definitely heating up. That's pretty cool. It's almost like painting with chocolate. It's like I'm painting the bottom of the double boiler. All right, I think I can turn off my mixer here. This is unsweetened chocolate, so there's no sugar in this. But my daughter said that, I wasn't sure because the recipe didn't say whether it should be unsweetened or semi-sweet or milk chocolate or dark chocolate. So the only chocolate I have in my house is unsweetened. So we're going to use that. And then my daughter Liz suggested that once the batter is made, I should give it a tiny taste and see if it's sweet enough. If it tastes sweet, then we're probably good. And if not, I can add a little bit of sugar to sweeten it up. So we'll give that a taste, but not too much. I've heard you're not supposed to eat batter because it's got raw eggs and so on. So I'm not going to taste a lot, just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit to see if it is sweet enough. It's definitely starting to melt now. Definitely see more melting. That's pretty cool. I'm feeling a little bit like a scientist. I'm wearing my Dinner with a Scientist shirt from a couple of years ago. Not a shirt, my apron. And watching this melt is making me think of chemistry. All right. Whoa, it made a sound. All right, I think our chocolate is melted. So I'm going to take it off the burner. And I'm going to lift this up and pour in the chocolate. Trying to scrape it all in there. Doesn't seem like a lot of chocolate, but we'll see how it looks when all of this gets mixed up. Let's see. A little more. A little more. A little more. All right. I think we'll call that good. And now I'm going to start mixing that in. And then I'm going to start putting in the dry ingredients and then some milk. Let's see, I'll put this here. All right, I think I'm going to stop this. Dump in the dry ingredients. So this is my sugar and my flour. Okay. Making a nice little mess here. All right. I'm going to add some milk, a cup of milk, and a teaspoon of vanilla. And then we're going to keep mixing. Not supposed to overmix. So, here we go. Well, let's hope this turns into a nice, awesome batter. I gotta admit, I'm a little worried. I didn't quite do it in the right order, but you never know until you try. All right, let's see how that looks. Scrape some of this off. I'm a little doubtful, a little dubious. It doesn't look as liquidy or like as smooth as I think of cake batter usually looking. But you never know. It might be one of those things where it doesn't look great, but it tastes super good, which would be fine. I would be totally good with that. All right. There's a lot of chocolate sitting on this spatula. Let's get that off of there. All right, let's try to mix that up a little bit more. And then we're going to try pouring this into the two pans. So it's going to be a challenge to get them even. That's going to be a big goal, to try and make them about the same size. All right, I think we're gonna call that good. Gonna remove the paddle. Try to get the batter off of the paddle. Oh, I said I was gonna test it and see if it's sweet enough. Let's give it a little taste. Oh yeah, plenty sweet. Plenty sweet. All right, so I'm gonna move all these things out of my way. I've got my 2 pans. We already preheated the oven to 350 degrees. So now the challenge is gonna be to divide this up into 2 pans pretty evenly. So there's about half. Let's do this half. Let's try the other half over here a little bit more. I'm going to kind of spread it out and see how this works. It seems like not very much for these 2 pans. I do not know how this is going to work out, but it's going to be fun. It'll be fun to see. So I'm just kind of smoothing it out so I can see which of these pans needs a little bit more, because I'm trying to estimate putting half in each of the pans. I did a pretty good job, actually. It looks pretty close, but we need some more on the edges of each of these. This almost feels a little bit more like brownie batter than cake batter to me. And that would be fine. If it comes out tasting like brownies, that would not be a bad thing, because I don't know about you, but I totally love brownies. So whatever happens, happens. I'm sure it's going to taste delicious, right? Okay. I think I've pretty much got it out of this big bowl. Oh, I think I just might have put batter in my hair. That'd be good. I've made so much of a mess here, I might as well make myself a mess while I'm at it. Okay, I think this is pretty even. And you know what's now funny? I'm looking at the recipe and it does not tell me how long to bake it. It just says bake it at 350 degrees. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is look at another recipe to figure out how long it should be baking, because I actually have no idea. That's really funny. I wonder why my grandma didn't put down how long to bake the cake. That's kind of crazy. So I happen to have my daughter's cake recipe, and hers says bake for 30 to 40 minutes. So I'm going to guess that that's what I should do with this. So since it says 30 to 40 minutes, I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to put it in for 30 minutes, and then I will test it and see how it is. So, all right, here I'm going to put it in the oven. 1, 2, and I'll see you in a half hour. My timer's gone off. I don't think this is done, but maybe. Well, that came out pretty dry. Let's try this one. That did come out dry, so maybe it is done. All right. So I'm gonna move this out of my way and take these out. All right, push that back in. Turn off my oven. And now they're supposed to cool. They look pretty good. I don't know. We'll try it. We'll see. All right, so I'm back. I've taken one of the cakes out, and I'm going to do the other one. My daughter said to flip it over onto the cooling rack, peel off the paper, and then put it back on the cooling rack like this. So now I've got one thing. She was right. It did come out easily, and it did not matter that my parchment paper were not cut in perfect circles. I'm very glad to hear that. They look super thin. Since I have no memory of this cake with my grandmother. I don't know if it's supposed to be thin like that or if it's supposed to be thicker. Doesn't say. So I'm going to let it cool, and then I'm going to find a good frosting recipe, and I'm going to make some chocolate frosting. That'll be next. 1 3/4 cups. So 1 cup is 4 quarters. So if I have 1 cup plus 3/4 of a cup, that means I need 7 quarters. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's a lot more than I thought. 5, 6. Holy moly. That's what we got left. What a mess. It's all right. 7. That's 1 3/4 cup sugar. It's time to turn this off. Okay. Now I'm supposed to sift some of that plus 1/4 cup of cocoa. Okay. Here's the cocoa. Let's dig in here and grab 1/4 cup of cocoa. Oh, I spilled some cocoa. That's all right. It's all good. All right. Now I think I need to take this out. Set that in. All right. There we go. This is much easier to sift than that. What was it? Oh, the brown sugar that I sifted by mistake. That was not a good call. This is much easier. All right. My daughter says not to do all of this, so I'm just going to do some of it. Save some of it. And try not to spill it. Oops, spilled anyway. That's all right. That's what a cleaning cloth is for. I have to clean it up after. Ooh, see that fly out of there? That's good. Oh, that went again. It's flying out of there. Okay, let's just shake that in there. All right. There we go. All right, I have been waiting a long time to frost this cake. I'm excited. My frosting looks good. I showed a picture to my daughter. She said it looked good. Oh, this is very satisfying. This is a special tool for frosting, and it's really satisfying. I'm very happy about how that feels. It's very smooth. I'm glad to see it's not ripping. Cake is not ripping. It's the skinniest cake ever, but it's not ripping. All right. I don't know if this is how exactly you're supposed to do it. I think that's pretty good. What do you think? How's that look? Oh, I think we need a little more on the side here. I think if I can feel it being rough, then it needs more. Okay. All right. I'm gonna call that good. I'm gonna put the second super skinny layer on top. It looks better when it's stacked. It doesn't look quite so sad and anemic. All right. I hope this is enough frosting. I made a little less than the recipe called for because I didn't think I needed quite so much. I think it's going to be okay. I think it's going to be all right. The rainbow sprinkles. Not too many. Oh, they're bouncing off the table. I don't have a lot of self-control. That's okay. All right. I think we're done. Okay. All right, this is my grandmother's cake server, actually, which is appropriate since this was my grandmother's recipe. Okay, I'm cutting it in half. And now I'm gonna cut this half into 2 halves. So now I've made 2/4. As if I cut it here, that would be 4/4. But I don't want to cut all of it. Now I'm going to cut each of these 4ths again to make 1/8. So now you can see I've got 4/8, which is the same as 1/2. Probably see that. And I think 1/8 is the size of cake piece that I want. You can see what it looks like in the middle. Looks pretty good. Thanks for watching. Bye. I always have milk with my cake.
Okay.
I'm going to try my cake. I'm super excited. Let's see how it tastes. Whoops. There we go. It's kind of a dense cake, but it tastes pretty good. Cheers.